Welcome to our show, Immigration Briefing. Today, we dive into the significant developments in immigration policies and how they are impacting various communities. Colombian President Gustavo Petro has taken a strong stance by refusing to accept deportation flights from the U.S. unless a protocol for treating deportees with dignity is established. This move has stirred tensions with the Trump administration, leading to emergency tariffs and travel bans on Colombian officials. In another gripping story, climate activist Zain Haq was deported from Canada to Pakistan after facing charges related to environmental protests. Despite the challenges, he remains optimistic about reuniting with his family and hopes to return to Canada through a spousal sponsorship application. His case highlights the complexities and human stories behind immigration enforcement. Lastly, we explore the situation of Haitian migrants in Springfield, Ohio, who are turning to their faith amidst fears of deportation. As the community grapples with uncertainty, they find solace in prayer and support from local leaders. These stories reflect the ongoing struggles and resilience of immigrant communities in the face of shifting policies. Please stay tuned for more detailed coverage. Guardian: Colombian President Gustavo Petro made headlines by reversing his earlier decision to block the landing of 2 U.S. military flights carrying deported Colombians. In a move to ensure the dignified return of his fellow citizens, he announced that a presidential plane would facilitate their arrival. This decision came after pressure from the U.S. and a threat of emergency tariffs from former President Trump, who accused Petro of jeopardizing national security. The situation highlights a broader tension in U.S.-Colombia relations, as it remains unclear whether Petro's concession applies to future deportation flights. His commitment to treating migrants with dignity reflects a growing discontent in Latin America regarding U.S. immigration policies. Toronto star, Zain Haq, a climate activist from British Columbia, faced deportation to Pakistan after pleading guilty to mischief charges related to environmental protests. As he boarded his flight, he expressed a sense of peace with his fate and looked forward to reuniting with family and enjoying his native cuisine. Despite his hopes for a last-minute intervention from Canadian authorities, Haq and his wife plan to apply for spousal sponsorship to return to Canada, a process that could take years. His case raises ethical concerns about the treatment of activists and the implications of deportation on family unity, as he navigates the complexities of immigration law and personal commitment to environmental activism. Associated Press: in Springfield, Ohio, the Haitian community is grappling with heightened fears of deportation amid President Trump's immigration crackdown. Pastor Reginald Silencier led prayers for the safety of his congregation, reflecting the anxiety felt by many as they worry about the future of the Temporary Protected Status (TPS) program. The community, which has grown significantly due to violence and unrest in Haiti, is now paralyzed by the fear of raids and deportations. Local leaders emphasize the need for support and security for Haitian migrants, while many congregants stay home, avoiding public spaces. This climate of fear is exacerbated by Trump's controversial statements about immigrants, leading to a pervasive sense of uncertainty and vulnerability among the Haitian diaspora. The Toronto Star reports that top officials from the Trump administration, including Border Czar Tom Homan and Acting Deputy Attorney General Emile Bove, visited Chicago to oversee the initiation of a significant immigration enforcement operation. The details surrounding the operation remain scarce, but the presence of multiple federal agencies, such as the FBI and DEA, indicates a broad and aggressive approach to immigration enforcement beyond the Department of Homeland Security. Bove emphasized the commitment to support local and state efforts in reclaiming communities and addressing any obstacles to their mission. The atmosphere in Chicago has been tense, particularly among immigrant communities, as fears of large-scale arrests loom, compounded by recent incidents that heightened anxieties about federal agents' presence in schools and public spaces. In a related development, Al Jazeera reports that President Trump has ordered harsh sanctions against Colombia after its president, Gustavo Petro, refused to allow U.S. military planes to land with deported migrants. Trump announced a 25% emergency tariff on all Colombian goods, which could escalate to 50% within a week, alongside visa restrictions targeting Colombian officials and their associates. Petro's decision to deny entry to the deportation flights was framed as a humanitarian stance, insisting that migrants deserve to be treated with dignity rather than as criminals. This diplomatic rift signals a significant escalation in tensions, reflecting Trump's aggressive immigration policies and the potential for retaliatory measures against countries that resist U.S. deportation efforts. According to BBC, the sanctions against Colombia highlight the deteriorating diplomatic relations between the two nations, with Trump asserting that the U.S. will not tolerate violations of legal obligations regarding deportations. The tariffs could lead to increased prices for Colombian imports, including coffee, which constitutes a significant portion of U.S. imports. The ongoing feud complicates efforts to manage migration flows from South America, as both countries navigate the challenges of immigration policy amid rising tensions. As Trump intensifies his crackdown on undocumented migrants, the implications of these sanctions and the broader immigration strategy continue to unfold, raising concerns about the treatment of migrants and the humanitarian implications of such policies. The Toronto Star reports on the visit of Acting Deputy Attorney General Emile Bove to Chicago, where he observed the beginning of intensified immigration enforcement operations initiated by the Trump administration. Bove's presence underscored the federal government's commitment to cracking down on undocumented immigrants, though specific details about the operations remained sparse. The atmosphere in Chicago, particularly among immigrant communities, has been fraught with anxiety, especially following recent statements from Trump officials indicating imminent enforcement actions. Local immigrant rights groups have mobilized to educate residents about their rights, while city officials have also disseminated information to ease fears. The tension escalated when a mix-up involving ICE agents at a school led to public outcry, prompting Governor J.B. Pritzker to voice concerns over the impact of aggressive immigration enforcement on law-abiding residents. In a separate development, the Associated Press highlights Colombian President Gustavo Petro's refusal to accept deportation flights from the United States unless a protocol is established to ensure that migrants are treated with dignity. Petro's stance follows reports of Colombian deportees being restrained upon arrival, leading him to insist that migrants should not be treated as criminals. Instead, he has indicated that Colombia will only accept its citizens on civilian flights. This decision comes amid the Trump administration's broader efforts to tighten immigration policies and bolster border security, including the use of military resources for deportations. The New York Times discusses Italy's resumption of its controversial program to send asylum seekers to Albania, a move that has reignited debate over the country's immigration policies. The Italian Interior Ministry announced that an Italian Navy vessel transported 49 migrants to centers in Albania, a program initially halted by judicial challenges. Prime Minister Giorgia Meloni has championed this initiative as part of her government's strategy to manage illegal immigration by processing asylum seekers outside Italy. Critics, including human rights advocates and political opponents, have condemned the program as inhumane and costly, while some European politicians view it as a potential model for future migration policies amid rising anti-immigrant sentiment. The legal battles surrounding the definition of safe countries continue, with the European Court of Justice set to address the matter soon. Associated Press. Acting Deputy Attorney General Emile Bove made a significant visit to Chicago to closely observe immigration enforcement operations that have been central to President Trump's administration. While the specifics of the operations, such as locations and the number of arrests, remained undisclosed, the visit heightened anxieties among the local immigrant community, which has been bracing itself for large-scale arrests. Community leaders and city officials have been proactive in educating immigrants about their rights, especially following a recent incident where Chicago public schools mistakenly reported ICE activity at an elementary school. Governor J.B. Pritzker voiced his concerns, emphasizing the need to protect law-abiding residents while targeting violent criminals. Amidst this atmosphere of fear, immigrant rights groups have taken legal action against ICE to prevent certain raids, affirming their commitment to safeguarding families in Chicago. New York Times. In a bold stance against the Trump administration's deportation policies, Colombian President Gustavo Petro announced that Colombia would not accept U.S. deportation flights unless the treatment of Colombian migrants is improved. Petro's refusal marks a significant departure from the typical cooperation seen among Latin American countries regarding deportations. He expressed the importance of treating migrants with dignity, stating that if the U.S. sends them back, it should be done respectfully. This decision comes as the Trump administration ramps up its deportation efforts, with Petro indicating a willingness to accept civilian flights but drawing the line at military aircraft. The Colombian president's position reflects broader concerns about the treatment of deported migrants, as evidenced by Brazil's complaints about inhumane deportation practices. The Independent, Tom Homan, the Trump administration's border czar, revealed on national television that mass deportations will be a daily occurrence throughout Trump's presidency, with numbers expected to increase weekly. He confirmed that the military has begun using aircraft to transport deportees back to their home countries, a practice not previously seen. Homan emphasized that the current focus is on removing individuals who pose public safety threats, but he made it clear that anyone in the country illegally could be targeted. While he acknowledged the limitations posed by funding and resources, Holman stressed the administration's commitment to prioritizing deportations based on criminal activity. He asserted that the ultimate goal is to enhance public safety by removing illegal aliens involved in crime, indicating a broader strategy to address illegal immigration in the U.S. Guardian. In the face of Donald Trump's stringent immigration policies, Democratic lawmakers in states like California and New York are taking proactive measures to create legal barriers against federal immigration enforcement. These initiatives aim to protect immigrants without legal status from deportation and include proposals to expand access to healthcare and education for these individuals. Notably, New York Assembly member Catalina Cruz, who herself was undocumented for over a decade, is championing legislation that would guarantee legal counsel for immigrants facing deportation proceedings. With a significant portion of her district's residents being non-citizens, Cruz emphasizes the urgent need for such protections amidst rising fears of mass deportations. Associated Press. While Trump has been vocal about inflation being a lesser priority, his administration's actions suggest otherwise, focusing heavily on immigration control. In his initial week back in office, Trump issued executive orders aimed at curtailing immigration while making vague promises to address rising consumer prices. Economists caution that his immigration policies, such as deporting undocumented workers, could inadvertently drive prices higher by reducing the labor force. Trump's approach to energy production, aiming to lower costs by increasing domestic drilling, is another aspect of his economic strategy, although the effectiveness of these measures remains under scrutiny. Toronto Star. The Democratic Party is currently grappling with internal divisions over how to respond to Trump's aggressive immigration stance. Although some Democrats have supported tougher immigration enforcement measures, like the Laken-Riley Act, a significant faction is calling for a more principled approach to immigration policy that aligns with the party's values. As the party navigates these complexities, there is a growing concern among immigration advocates that capitulating to Trump's narrative could undermine their efforts. The Congressional Hispanic Caucus is actively seeking to unify the party's message while addressing the pressing concerns of mixed-status families and the potential economic fallout from mass deportations, reflecting the urgent need for a coherent strategy in the face of escalating immigration challenges. Thank you for tuning in. The content above showcases the latest briefing reports and analytical synopses, thoughtfully curated by the 6Do team. These insights stem from a wide array of reputable media outlets, think tanks, government sources, and specialized experts worldwide. We encourage you to explore these sources for a comprehensive perspective. Keep in mind that while the content may not always align with the official standpoint of 6Do Brief, it's not meant to be taken as absolute directives for decision-making. Comprising seasoned media professionals, learned scholars, and accomplished scientists, the 6Do team embodies a trailblazing, fully independent media entity. To customize 6Do Brief to meet your professional needs, you have the option to subscribe to a diverse array of briefings on our website, 6dobrief.com. Regardless of your location, you can conveniently receive 6Do Brief via email.
Waking up to wonders, checking nature blunders. Got our rockets flying while the oceans are sighing. Lasers in the sky now.